back to the Abiding CEO podcast, where faith meets business and business owners choose to attach to the true vine. In a minute, you'll understand why I added that line to our intro. So this weekend, I was up in New Jersey. I was visiting family. Normally, when I go on vacation, sometimes I go to church, sometimes I don't, sometimes I sleep in. And this particular weekend, I was actually invited to two church services. And I am convinced by different family members that I went to the correct one. So I chose to go to Stonecrest Church with my cousin and her family. And you wouldn't believe, he preached on John 15. And as you guys know, that's what this whole Abiding CEO is based out of. I'm encouraging you guys to join me in the abiding process. Now, what was interesting is he highlighted the beginning of John 15, the I am the true vine and my Father is the gardener. Now, I'm stretching out what he said because for the first time, it hit me. And I don't know if this has happened to you, where you read the Bible, you've seen that passage, but it speaks to you differently. Not enough to deter or steer away from, but right now, rereading the beginning of John 15 was adding additional clarity to the mission and vision of the Abiding CEO. So it starts with, I am the true vine and my Father is the gardener. The fact that it says true vine implies that there are false vines. And something that Pastor Doug, sorry, don't know his last name, from Stonecrest Church in New Jersey said was, be careful with replacement vines, because sometimes what happens is we get so caught up in this earthly life that we forget. We forget who we are. We forget our purpose. We forget, what are we doing? We're just going with the motions and another cog in the machine. And just that idea of attaching to the right vine. And then using this illustration, right? The true vine being the word, which is Jesus. So, and I actually have a vine plant, right? So it grows healthy when you're attached to the right things. Now, when you're attached to the wrong things, the branch withers and dies. So here's a little one that I pruned this morning. And that might look like, for us business owners, attaching to how much money our businesses are generating and how much networking we're doing and making sure that we're seen and we're heard, which is a delicate balance between marketing and letting God highlight you in front of others. And then for me, being in the mental health field, it's easy to get caught up and find your identity in what psychology says. For those of you who don't know, this is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual number 5. Yeah, it keeps getting revised because we don't have the truth. If it were the truth, it would not be revised. But I digress. What does it look like to attach to the true vine and have that secure attachment? And for those of you who don't know me, you may not know that I am big on attachment theory and generating a secure attachment with God, self, and others. And so many times we don't find that secure safety, that trust, that abiding feeling of just belonging because we're attached to the true vine. In that same passage, right, it goes on to talk about the pruning process. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. Now, that cutting off process, it has to be him who does it. I was reflecting about this in the car ride after church with my cousin, right? There was a time in my life where I was pretty wild, right? Then I get saved, and you know what? I'm still doing some wild things. But with time, it was the Holy Spirit who told me, Betsy, you really shouldn't be belly dancing. It's not good. You're a tripping stone for others. So I stopped. And some people disagree with this. Maybe you should watch your words and not curse. It was a gentle pruning, but it had to go. And then there are other areas of my life. Who knows? He's going to prune down the road. But at the end of the day, I am powerless and totally dependent on him, the true vine, for my identity, for my security, for my purpose. And when we get distracted, he'll prune us if we allow him. Or we can be rebellious and totally disengage, and then we dry up and we crash and burn rather than being secure in him. The other big thing about that second part is you don't prune a baby plant. So I grab one of my little plants here, right? You wouldn't prune that, right? You would kill it if you try to prune it too soon. So there is a season for those revelations to come through. And sometimes we try to force something and then it's not natural, it's ahead of its time. And we regret it later versus when we sit back, we draw near to Him and we ask Him for our direction, our purpose, one new innovation. Lord, what do you think about this business proposal? What do you think about this candidate? Because, sometimes we're interviewing people, we think they're a great fit, they look good on paper, but did we ask Him? What do you think? Are they in alignment with what you're doing with this business? I know that's a tough one, and I can think of some scenarios, but I've learned some stuff I've learned the hard way, and some headaches I've been able to avoid. But ultimately, knowing that you're connected to the true vine, and that is your source of identity, your source of power. I know that if I were to shut down my two businesses, God would still love me. I don't do this to earn His love. I do this out of love for Him and the love that He's put in me to invite others on this journey of abiding that come what may, you're okay. Whether you're 6, 7, 8 figures, you're still okay. Whether you're still learning and tripping here and there, or you went down a dead end, you can always U-turn because He's still there for you. And what matters most is that you're a son or daughter, not that you're a CEO of XYZ company. So I invite you to consider, are you attached to a false vine? Again, are you attached to a false vine? That's a difficult question. And if you take it seriously, it will bring some pruning. And I'm not speaking from somebody who knows all of it. I'm speaking from somebody who has had to learn some things the hard way. And I hope I can save you the grief and the headache by encouraging just that fellowship, that connection with the vine that loves you back, our Jesus. I'm currently working on multiple resources, and over the next few weeks, I'll disclose them. But coming up soon, I'm working on some abiding affirmations. I'll tell you more about that next time. But in the meantime, focus on abiding and connecting with Him. God bless you guys.